Hey guys! What was that? I got a haircut? Why yes, thank you for noticing. So on to the story. Throughout school, each student develops their own sort of reputation. For me, I was the art kid. That reputation took some time to develop, however, because for the first year and a half of high school, I didn't do much art at school, preferring to do it at home. When I joined newspaper, I had to learn Photoshop. After the initial struggle, I finally started to get the hang of it, and I fell in love. I got the full Adobe suite soon afterwards, #not sponsored, and started messing around with it. I also taught myself InDesign over the summer and got pretty decent at both programs. My teacher saw my talent with the two programs, and so when I joined newspaper the following year, she put me with the editor-in-chief to help design layout. Later in the year, the principal came to my newspaper teacher and asked her which student would be best to build a poster for him. She directed him to me, so I made him a promotional poster for the Rotary Club, of which he was president in my town. Ever since then, he has known my face and skill set. Soon afterwards, I got my first graphic tablet and started using it daily, both at home and at school. Thus, my reputation as an artist started to grow. It was during that year when art truly became a huge part of my life, and since then, it's only grown. My senior year rolled around, and in order to keep us all updated on what needed to happen before college, the staff got us all together for a class meeting. It started off as usual, applications, transcripts, caps and gowns, etc., and I just kind of started tuning it out. That is until the end of the meeting. The principal stepped forward and said that the seniors who were interested could submit a design for the senior t-shirts, and the student government would vote and choose the best of the entries. As he finished telling us about it, he just turned and looked at me. A second later, the kid next to me looked at me, and at least 4 others from the front row also turned around. I was a little taken aback, honestly, that I was the first person they thought of, because I was nowhere near the best artist in my school. When I got home that day, the pressure was on, and I had no idea what to draw. All I knew was that it had to have something to do with our mascot, the wolf. So when I got home, I pulled out my sketchbook and started flipping through it, trying to get an idea of what on earth to draw, when I came across a tattoo design of a fox that I had come up with a while back. And inspiration struck me. I turned into a drawing machine that night. After a couple of hours bending over my graphic tablet, I came up with this. Cringy, I know. But I loved it at the time. Yeah, looking back, I just want to hide this forever, which is ironic since I'm now posting it to the internet. Anyways, so I turned it into the principal and waited for the results to come back. For some reason, they didn't announce the winner to the student body when they did decide it a couple weeks later. They just sent a discreet email to the first and second placers congratulating them. And I was so disappointed when... Nah, I'm just messing with you guys. I got first place. So my design was going to be on the front of all 200 of the senior t-shirts, and I was ecstatic. When he sent me the email, the principal also asked me to digitize the second place design, because the girl had submitted it from a sketchbook. The fact that he had thought to ask me that also made me really excited. So if you don't look at how much time is remaining in this video, you might think this is the end of my story. But, oh no, this story did not end here. By the end of this story, I was about ready to throttle some t-shirt company employees. So anyways, I just continued on as usual at school, although with a little spring in my step, as I waited for the t-shirts to come out. The principal had told me he was expecting them to be passed out by the Sadie Hawkins dance, which usually happens in the last month and a half of the semester, of the first semester. But as you can imagine, that didn't end up happening. A couple weeks later, the principal calls me into the office and informs me that my design was not high enough definition for the t-shirt company to use, and I was going to have to remake it. And that was fine. When he announced the competition, he hadn't given us any specs. He just said, make a design. So I just tried to make it somewhat large, but apparently it wasn't big enough, so whatever. So I asked him what specs I had to meet. He took me into his office and called the t-shirt company so that I could ask them myself. So just as a little bit of clarification, I am completely self-taught in the ways of graphic design and digital art. So I don't know a lot of the technical terms, so to try and both cover this up and to try and continue the trend of teaching myself, Once I was on the phone with the company, I just decided to trust their knowledge. And I said, "So, what is all the information I need to make this graphic to the right specs?" And the guy said, "Oh, it just needs to be 300 dpi. And as I said, I had no idea what that meant. But I was confident that Google would know all of these things. So I waited for a few more seconds with my notepad open and pencil ready, expecting him to elaborate. He didn't. So I asked, "Is there anything else I need to know?" And he just said, "Nope." So I was thinking that maybe this was the name of a template or something. So the principal hung up the phone, and I went back to class. Once I got settled on my computer, I googled DPI, which turned out to mean dots per inch. I found out that the employee had actually used the wrong vernacular, and had meant PPI, pixels per inch. So I opened Photoshop and immediately saw where to turn up the resolution. It was a simple box in the open screen. So in my mind, I'm thinking, I just need to amp up the resolution. So I'm like, I can do this easy. So after school, I went to work, and I didn't get home till like 10:30 at night. Needless to say, I was kind of tired, but I felt like I needed to get this done. So I sat down, changed the PPI up to 300, and got to work. The thing is, I tend to work with pixels when setting up a file, and having thought that my dimensions were correct before, I didn't change those numbers. Now, when someone turns up the number of pixels per inch, but does not turn up the number of pixels, the image gets smaller. But my sleep-deprived brain totally missed that. When I was done, it came out looking like this. And I was really proud of it. So I went to bed, happy with what I had accomplished. I emailed it to the principal the next day, and didn't hear back. So I just assumed everything was fine. And I went about school as usual again. That is until a couple weeks later. Hey guys, thank you for watching my video. Part 2 will be coming out next, but for now, I figured this is a long enough video anyway. I think this may come out being the longest video I've made thus far. So thank you if you've stuck around long enough to hear this end card. I'm sorry for the delay on this video. I just got Adobe Animate, so I've been kind of learning the software, and it's really complex, so I've been falling behind in my schedule. And I also hurt my wrist, which didn't help much at all. So, yeah, but we'll be having the next episode out before too terribly long, hopefully. Sorry about the slight cliffhanger, but this video was getting really long, and there's a lot left to the stories, but I'll have to put it into the part 2. So yeah, thank you guys for watching my video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!